after you also." Carter shook his head, although he knew Mercer was right. His eyes were stinging with rawness, and there was a stabbing ache in his temples, his jaws, and in the back of his neck. He had caught cold during the chilly vigil. His eyes were tearing, and he wiped them with his hand every few minutes. He needed sleep badly. He rested his head in his upright hands, massaging his face torpidly against his fingers. The contact brought a fleeting relief, but soon the points of his elbows were sore against the rough, unvarnished wood. He had a busy schedule the next day. He had classes all through the morning and into the afternoon, the first one at 8, and after that the football team to coach until dusk. His puzzlement increased at the thought of the football team. If any place, it was there, with all the physical contact that the game required, that he would have expected an outbreak. But that had gone smoothly, better than even he had dared to hope. And then, just as he was beginning to relax, to triumph, abruptly, fiercely, irrevocably, everything that had been accomplished, everything for which he had toiled so long, with a suddenness that left him dazed, was rudely, cruelly, decisively, and insensately obliterated by the primordial brutality of an alley fracas. His consciousness was throbbing now with the dim recognition of atavistic pressures that were emerging uncontrollably all about him. He could see but not understand them, and they were horrifying in their mute and immutable finality. All afternoon he had been watching the terrible recrudescence of savage animal passions, and he was tormented by the helpless despair of being unable to arrest it, of being unable even to try. His confusion rose suddenly, filling him with panic, and he dug his nails painfully into his forehead and shivered. The sound of footsteps roused him to attention. His eyes went hopefully to the door, but it was only Henny returning with the sandwiches. He stepped into the room spryly, swinging the door closed behind him, and delivered a brown paper bag to Mercer. There was no stop on the door, and it slammed shut with a sharp, reverberating boom that rattled hollowly through the walls of the building and seemed to shake the foundations. Carter winced, and Mercer frowned, and Henny, himself surprised by the report, shifted uneasily and smiled at Mercer with apology. Mercer pushed a package of cigarettes to Carter and began tearing the bag along the seam, doing it slowly with very deliberate caution. His thoughts were obviously elsewhere, but the intense preoccupation they gave his manner solemnized the act, and for a moment he seemed like a surgeon making a careful incision. There were 4 sandwiches inside, each wrapped sturdily in thick wax paper. Gazing at them, Mercer spoke to Henny. He said, "Did you see Beeman?" Henny shook his head. "No, Jay. They said he was still in the hospital." "Who said?" "The man outside." Mercer sighed with exhaustion and looked up at him. "Henny, what's going on outside?" "Nothing, Jay," Henny said quickly. "Just a few men waiting around to see what happens." Mercer regarded him steadily for a moment, and then stared down at the table. He had large hands, Carter noticed, with strong, calloused, fleshy fingers. There were spots of dirt on each of the big knuckles and in the folds of skin between them. "I spoke to Whitcomb," Henny said suddenly. He glanced significantly at Carter, and then went on in an excited voice that kept rising gleefully with a shrill, whinnying, malicious hysteria. "He says we're going up tomorrow and burn 'em all out. He says we're going to get rid of 'em for good. He says it doesn't matter what happens to the Wilson boy. He says we're going up anyway and—" He might have continued indefinitely had not Mercer interrupted. "Did you let him put butter on these sandwiches?" he demanded. The sudden inquiry caught Henny by surprise, and he blinked his eyes in confusion. "What's that, Jay?" he stammered. "Nothing, Henny," Mercer said in a softer voice. "It's not important." He pushed a sandwich to Carter.